This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, good morning everybody and welcome aboard the Sunrise Safari. We're coming to you live from the Djuma Traverse of the Greater Kruger National Park in South Africa. And you're watching SafariLive, and that there, the young male leopard, Hosana, the little chief, he is here with us just near to Galago Pan, the Vuyutela, the waterhole. So my name is Ralph Kirsten, and on the camera this morning I've got Senzo. Good morning, Senzo, and good morning once again to all of you. Now please don't forget to send us your questions and your comments on the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter and on the YouTube live chat, and get involved on this interactive game drive. Now, it's been quite an interesting evening, it seems, because Hosana was spotted on the dam cam in the early hours of the morning, and he has been quite busy. It seems like he has caught himself a little daycare and had a number of other animals as well. So I'm just now going to let the guys know shortly on the radio that Hosana is here, because I don't think that they would have actually seen this. But that is very, very cool that he's hung around here, caught himself a meal, and he's got nice water to drink here. And, well, I think he was just stalking some impala a little while ago as well, which is very, very cool. So this be the son of Karula and Tingana, and now he's starting to slink down a little bit. I wonder if he's going to make his way down towards the next road, or if he's just going to maybe move a little bit and go back resting up. We'll have to just wait and see, but he is a rather relaxed leopard with us around. I haven't spent much time with him, so this is awesome for me too. It's almost a first. He's going down through the grass there. I wonder if he's thinking about, I don't know where he may have stashed this dake, or if he's finished all of it. Maybe there's the food down there. Maybe that's what he's going down to. Looked in the trees, there doesn't seem to be anything up hanging. You say he's eating, Senzo? Oh, just hiding. Aha, so this is awesome to start the morning with something like this. That is amazing. So I'm sure you're all as pleased as I am to see Hosana. He has been a happy wanderer for the last little while. So nice that we've got him back in the central part of the Djuma Traverse. And I might just go down and see exactly what he's doing. Let's try and get a little bit closer. I'm going to go. Sorry, I might be blocking the dam cam from this little view. So I'm just going to now relocate and head us in. Now, everybody, I'm not the only one out here. We do have a bushwalk as well as another vehicle.
Yes, we do. We have got a vehicle. Here I am. As you can see, I am not moving at all. That is because I am looking at something from the sky. Before you go to the sky, my name is James Henry. And it's very cold this morning. That's why I'm having to force a smile. On camera is a ghost at the moment because Sebastian Rombi is flying the drone. I'm not sure we can actually show him. No, we can't show him to you. No, we should, I think. Just a quick little shifty aroundsy. There he is. Say hello, Sebastian. Morning. There he is. And now let's go and see what we've managed to see from the drone. There we go. So we're about to land. Now, we're just looking at some antelope there that have made it through the long night, unscathed by Hosana, the duiker murderer. We managed to name the duiker that he killed yesterday. Conrad named him Spyker, which means nail. Spyker the Duiker. Unfortunately, Spyker is now no longer with us, but in the bowels of Hosanna. Well, it's great to have Hosanna back, and if the old Spyker has to be sacrificed, then so be it. Please speak to us, #SafariLive on Twitter, and of course the chat stream on YouTube for the next 2 hours or so. The temperature today is minus 500 degrees Celsius, which is minus 6 million Fahrenheit. Obviously that's not true, but it does feel very cold out here. I think Google says that the temperature here is about 32 degrees, very warm and balmy. It probably says about 11 degrees Celsius, which is about 56 or so Fahrenheit. It doesn't feel like that, I must confess to you. It feels so very cold indeed. Righty, we are going to bring the thermal drone back home. I'm not allowed to call it Thelma anymore, apparently. It's not very military. So we're going to bring General Thesiger back in now. Air Commander Thesiger. And I think we're going across to Sydney now, on foot.
A very, very good morning to everyone. I am Sydney and I'm going to be with you this morning. This is the beginning of my guided walk, and I hope we're going to see quite a lot of walk-related species. A guided walk is completely different from a game drive. So we will see quite a lot of tiny little interesting things here on the field this morning. And for your questions and comments, you can simply follow us on Twitter, #SafariLive, and also on YouTube chat stream. I am not traveling alone this morning. I am with Herbert. Herbert is my game squad, together with my photographer, Craig. We are all going to make this experience memorable. So I am going to do some little bit of trekking. My plan for this morning is very much easy. It's not difficult at all, because I can see that if you can check, the weather is cloudy, but the wind is gone now. And the only thing I like about the wind last night is that all the old tracks has been rubbed. Everything that we're going to see now, the tracks are all going to be fresh from this morning. So the chances of trekking and finding something are very much high this morning. So without any waste of time, I'm going to start with my trekking now and see the first animal I'm going to get hold of the track. So now let's go to Ralph. Ralph has got a leopard on the other side.
Well, Hosanna's made his way down, just a little bit down towards the dry pan now, and he's lying in the grass. And it seems the viewers have said that he dragged that duiker just a little bit off to our south, into the bushes there. I haven't quite seen it yet, and I'm just waiting. Maybe he'll go for a bit of a feed a little bit later. And, well, we're just watching him here in the grass. Look how well camouflaged he is. It is incredible. If we didn't know from the dam cam, we would have quite possibly not even seen him. That is really, really well camouflaged in the grass there. And he's just made himself a little bit less conspicuous. He was up a little bit on the side of the waterhole here, but he's gone down now where it's a little bit more difficult to see him. It doesn't matter, we know he's there. Now, Ashlyn, it can actually pretty much happen that way. When the antelope do spot a leopard, they can even walk towards it, and they like to be able to see exactly where it is, and they can keep barking at it until it shifts off, which they generally do because they don't want everybody to know their position. So, I mean, like if you've seen Shugulu, her habits, once she starts getting barked at, oh, there's a nice big yawn there. She runs away. Some of the others, like Tingana, he just walks in the other direction. I'm sure Hosanna would be quite similar in that vein. And Tandi also, she does sort of get quite agitated when the animals start barking at her. And you can have impala and kudu, they come forward towards them. It's actually quite strange to watch. And they keep barking at it. And it looks like Kusana is just making himself comfortable in the long grass. Just looking around. He's still quite alert. Not quite ready for his sleep. Or maybe he might take a little bit of a snooze there somewhere soon. It's a really nice time of the morning. The sun still hasn't come up over the horizon just yet, and it's getting lighter by the minute. That's a lovely picture here. As Senzo goes out there, you start to see the beautiful colours now starting to come on the horizon there. Still some clouds around. It's still waiting for this real big part of this cold front to hit us. We're in the throes of it, and I'm sure there'll be some rain coming behind it as well. For a minute, Osana quite relaxed. Now, Jamie, you want to know or want me to have a look around for that duiker that he killed, because you guys are interested to know if it's the pregnant one. I will definitely have a look in a minute or so. I'm going to sit here for a little while, and then in a moment I'll go and have a look there. So we'll have a check and see if it was indeed the pregnant one. Well, I'm sure we should be able to see, unless he's eaten too much of it. But we'll definitely have a look. It's pretty quiet out here this morning. There's not too many birds calling. It is pretty quiet. Not too many in the way of the Franklin and the spurfowl calling just yet. I'm sure they're going to get going shortly. Maybe it's because it's been quite cold and they've spent a lot of energy keeping warm over during the night. So they're a little bit tired this morning. It's also always possible. It can be hard work trying to stay warm. He's putting his ears back. That's normally a little bit of a sign of agitation. You can also be listening in sort of off behind him. Not always. You see how he puts them forward, then he puts them back. I think it's just he's just directing his ear flaps just to receive the sound from different directions. Now, Kim, you want to know around the territory and when Osana might take his own? Well, I would say, for my feeling, I would say it's probably going to be about another 2 years or so before he finds himself in a position to challenge for a territory. Up until then, he'll sort of be the age of Hukumuri at that stage, getting a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, a little bit bigger in size and physicality, and so then he'll really be able to challenge for that. So I would say 2 to 3 years when he could really establish himself nicely. He's still quite a youngster, hey? So that would put him at about, 5, 6 years old. That's where he wants to be able to challenge. And he needs to find a good spot as well. So he's going to be doing very big sort of loops as he starts dispersing. Now we're getting some bird calls. Hlega bafazi. The red-billed woodhoopers, or the green woodhoopoo as they're called now. They're on that branch there. See them there, Senzo? They're all doing their little dance. There, that's it. See how they rock backwards and forwards? The cackling woman. They're having their morning chat. See why they're called the green woodhoopoo, and why they also were called the red-billed woodhoopoo. Cooperative breeders. They're always moving around in groups and always making cackling noise. There they go up again. Watch them how they rock backwards and forwards when they start calling. And quite similar to woodpeckers in that they do like to go for those wood-boring beetle larvae in the trees. You see how they're accessing them with their long curved bill. We're looking for anything that's in and under the bark. Very, very distinctive birds, and always moving around in groups, as I've said. There's one that looks, a bird that looks very similar, if you had to see it from a distance, without the color, in a silhouette. The scimitar bill is almost identical, but it has a black bill and sort of black and white colors, and it moves around on its own, as opposed to the Schlägerbafazi that move around in groups. There's Hosanna. I think he's now lying down having a bit of a sleep. And you can just see him breathing. Look at that, and he disappeared almost completely in the grass there. Almost invisible. Alright, so this is pretty much probably for me going to be a morning of sitting and watching Hosanna while he catnaps, and in a moment I might go and have a look and see if we can find that duiker.
There is really no point in doing anything other than sitting very still watching Hosanna on a morning like this, because any movement of the air over one's bare skin results in, well, the desire to cry. This is easily the coldest morning we've had. No doubt you're all very sick and tired of hearing how cold it is. I found the duiker for you, everybody. That's where I thought you'd put it, actually. There it is. Can you see it there?
Yeah.
Interestingly, it's not a duiker. Or is it? No, it is. I'm talking rubbish. It is a duiker.
Yeah.
Shout when you got a shot there.
I had, but now revisit more so I can get the head. More. It's a branches now. I think you're gonna have to go back forward.
No, it definitely wasn't pregnant, everybody. I know that because it has got horns, and therefore was a male, and therefore was not capable of being pregnant, unless something has changed in my understanding of biology. I thought he might stick it in this tree, you know. Very cleverly stashed up there. That is the gut. In fact, if you were to do a sort of, I guess, discussion of rumination, that would be how you do it. You can possibly see all four chambers there of the rumen. Omesum, abomesum, ruminareticulum, reticulum. Which one of those is that? I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's a bit gory and disgusting, so let's carry on. So we're just sitting on the Gari Dam wall here, and that's basically, Hosanna is just over there, in amongst those cars. Somewhere there. Yes. Okay. There is Ralph. Say hello, Ralph. Don't be rude. And there, of course, is the amazing fellow that is Sensor Mkhize. Alright, so we managed to find our first animal to drive, albeit a stone cold dead one.
Good sign.
Good sign. Right, Sydney has not found an animal, but he has found the signs of an animal.
Yeah, I've got a very good-looking track here. I'm just going to circle it so that you can all see the kind of track I'm talking about. So you can see that the direction of this track, this bird was moving from this side going towards that side. So this is the front toe and the two other side toes. So this track is from one of the very noisy birds. And this bird is one of those species that normally inform us while out on this kind of activities, guided walks, if there are some of the predators around. So they give some kind of alarm calls. This is the guinea fowls. So these guinea fowls, they normally use their tracks in order to disperse droppings, in order to get hold of some of the food, such as the insects, and also when looking for some of the fruits. They normally go there and they will be dispersing everything so that they can get out of those things. Because these birds, they are not completely carnivores. They also eat some of these things from the trees. So the guinea fowls, they walk in flocks. You will see quite a lot of them. And it is not advisable to eat the guinea fowls by the month with letter R. So let's check the month with letter R from the whole year. So it means you cannot eat the guinea fowls by September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, because all those months they are consisted of a letter R. But when it comes to the month without letter R, which is May, June, July, and August, that is when you can eat the guinea fowls. So when I grew up in Venda there, we have been taught that the best time to eat the guinea fowls is by the time the month are not having letter R, because that is when they don't have tapeworms. So if you eat them by the month with letter R, you're going to experience problems when it comes to the tapeworms. So now I'm just going to carry on and see if I can find one of the big animals. So the guinea fowls, they have been here. This is the first clear track I've seen so far. So maybe it's because these guinea fowls scratch the ground and open the ground a little bit, so the tracks, they look much better. The other tracks, they have been blown by the wind, and which is not bad, because all I want this morning is to track down an animal right from the fresh tracks. So let's see what we are going to find next. So now let's go to Ralph. Ralph has got Hosanna with him on the other side, and see what Hosanna is doing.
He's not up to terribly much. The only thing he's doing is breathing. And, well, you can see those little spots there, just with his chest rising and falling as he breathes. But we've got a little bit of a view of him on the thermal camera as well. So let's go over to that, and you can see the real heat that is emanating from his body there, just behind that clump of grass. You can't really make out his entire body because he's just being blocked by the vegetation there in front, but does at least, it's almost like a fire in the background with the silhouette of the grasses here in front. Obviously the redder, the higher the temperature, the sort of going down to blue and black, being probably 0 degrees or cold. So that is fascinating to see that as well. You can really actually help us find the animals with that thermal camera too. Very, very interesting. But he's really not doing much. He's doing what cats do best, and there we can see once again that he is still alive. And I was just starting to go look for that duiker when James came past and spotted it hanging in that jackalberry. So that has been spotted. I'm not quite sure if it was indeed the pregnant duiker or not. All right, so I might go and have a look at it just now, and Lou telling me that it was a male duiker. But, well, the culprit himself, Mr. James, seems to have found something for himself.
Yes, we found an impala, a whole herd of impala, feeding gently in the grove of tambuti trees. It's very pretty. And the best part of it is that we're not moving right now, which means that we can enjoy the animals without the sort of spiking air striking our faces. And you can see that they are all engaged in, what's that? I can never remember that word, that piloerection, that's right. Yes, K6, we do know where the evokers are. The evokers are in Buffelshoek, which is the reserve to the north of Djuma. They shouted very close to our camp last night. I'm sure you would have heard them on the damn cam. And then they disappeared north into Buffelshoek. Beautiful. A lot of males. So you can see there the bachelor herds have reconstituted. Their endless fighting over ladies, now long forgotten. The next time that any of them are likely to receive any love at all or attention from the ladies will be in September, when a few of the unpregnant ladies will acquiesce to a few advances. That one there has got a particularly lustrous coat, that youngster. Yes, if I was an impala, I'd want a coat like that on a morning like this. Look how happy he looks with himself, scratching his coat. Yes, I bet you're very pleased. I think I would also be doing my exercises early morning. Louis says he's a well-groomed metrosexual male. I think he's probably more sort of one of these shaggy hipster types, you know, the types that just let all their hair grow everywhere and then shape it like a hedge. No, they can't grow beards, Louise. Do you think you can't be a hipster if your face doesn't grow hair? Shame. Must be a dreadful sadness for people in Cape Town. Those that can't grow beards must be desperately rubbing hormonal creams on their face. Hormonal creams on. Don't worry, for those of you who are hipsters and can't grow beards, the beards will go out of fashion fairly soon, and then the I'm a baby look will come back again, the boy band look. There we have. Hello, ladies. How are you? How's the first few months of pregnancy been? All right? Not too difficult? Surviving? Good. Well done. I'm afraid we did frighten them all somewhat. Let's continue. My general modus operandi this morning is going to be to try and find Thandi and Tlalamba or Tingana off in the eastern sector, while Ralph is with the son of the old queen and Tingana.
Well, that's it. Thanks, James. And we've just managed to get ourselves into a slightly better position. At least we can see the little chief here through the grass. And he's lifting his head up, just looking towards the water and the in the direction of the dam cam as well, but I'm pretty sure that the dam cam possibly not able to see him now. He's a little bit down behind a ridge, but he's now just going to start getting some of the sunlight poking through. The sun has now just risen on the horizon, and so the colours are now starting to come through. And then he just spotted a little butterfly, I think, that flitted above him. So it hasn't quite hit him just yet, but it's going to come through quite soon and then expose him in the light. Oh, what's that? Is that a cinnamon breasted bunting? Let me just check. Or a yellow fronted canary, one of the two. Pretty little birds coming down for a drink, probably. Eating some of the seeds there on the bank. Well spotted, Senzo. Do some bird watching while we're sitting here with the Hosana. Two. Got a very cool call as well. And back to the little chief. Canaries, yep. All right, and speaking of birds, I'm going to quickly check which canary it is, and I'm going to head you on over to James with another bird.
I'm pretty sure that this bird would eat one of those canaries if given a quarter of a chance. It is, of course, the shikra. The shikra is known by its yellow eye. Let me try that again. The shikra is known by its red eyes and yellow feet and yellow cere, which is the bit around the nose there. No, I'm just trying to find it on me app. You can hear my brain is freezing. Can you hear that? Every time I get more than 3 words into a sentence, I have to have a pause. No, I do not want a hot water bottle, thank you, Louise. A hot water bottle does not help. Nothing will help except the sun. So it does eat small birds. So it would eat, certainly, those canaries. It is mainly a lizard eater, interestingly, which is unique among the accipiters. It is the only accipiter, so one of these little hawks, that chooses to eat lizards over anything else. Now that's interesting because the other similar looking bird, but with a pink cere and pink legs, is the lizard buzzard. And if the shikra is the only one that eats lizards, why is the lizard buzzard called lizard buzzard? That's because the lizard buzzard isn't in fact an accipiter, it just looks at her. Okay, well that's good to know. Lizard buzzard also eats mainly lizards, small snakes, rodents, frogs and invertebrates, not birds. Sweet history, this bird's name is spelled as follows: S-H-I-K-R-A. Shikra. Exactly as you'd say it. Its Latin zoological name is Accipiter badius. A-C-C-I-P-T-I-T-E-R. No, A-C-C-I-P-I-T-E-R-B-A-D-I-U-S. Accipiter badius. Now, of course, the reason that it is able to catch birds is that it has long leggies. So it is a hawking bird as opposed to the lizard buzzard, which is probably more, which has shorter legs, probably lands on top of its prey, if you know what I mean. But this will also eat insects, small birds, bats, rodents, frogs, and children. Not children. Doesn't leave those. This is a marvellous sighting of a shikra, because normally, of course, they are flying very quickly and they're quite difficult to see. And they're very difficult to point out the identifying features because they don't sit still for long enough. His legs are much longer than that. He's just folded them up under the downy feathers of his belly. That's to keep them warm and minimize the amount of exposed skin. I remember trying to take game drives when I was a guide, and July was always particularly difficult because it was really cold and you couldn't actually speak properly. So the hornbill, that's a hornbill over there. Your jaw would cease to function. There we go. Alrighty, we're going to continue along towards Beefle's Hook Waterhole, see if we can't pick up some Tundi and Tlalama tracks, while Sydney has found some tracks of his own.
Yeah, I've got a very nice track here on the ground. I was doing some little bit of trekking, and suddenly I came across one of the tracks from the big cat. So I just want to show you this track very nicely here. You can see there, look at this track. So this is a very nice and clear track. It's showing you that these cats, they were here somewhere early this morning. It's just that now, after I got the tracks, I tried to talk with my other colleagues who are in different areas in the reserve, just to hear if they have spotted them somewhere. Yes, the big cats, king of the jungle, the lions, they have been spotted heading towards one of the private concessions earlier on. So they just left the markings here. I can see it was about 2 of them, and I am checking here. I can see that there is 2 tracks. If you check here, there is this track and this track. So this one here, this is to register. So this is the front, and this is the back. So the front and this is the back. So they are doing some registering. So 2 male lions, they went all the way up to that side early this morning. So there is something I want to show you which is very much interesting. This is something I have learned, and it has been assisting me a lot when it comes to trekking. So let's have a look here. You see this little pit? This is from the antlion. The antlion is a very small insect. It has got some kind of mandibles. So these insects, they prepare this kind of small pits early in the mornings. The antlion normally wakes up between 6:30 and 7:30. If I find that the track for the antlion has got a track like this, you will see some kind of line, very, very, very thin line going like this. If I find that the antlion's tracks is over the lion tracks, it helps me to estimate how old is that track. If the antlion track is on top of the lion tracks, then I can then take a guess and estimate that, okay, it means this lion has been here before 6:30 and 7:30. But if then the lion tracks are on top of the antlion tracks, then I can say this lion has been here. It was somewhere shortly after 7:30. So these kind of insects, they help me in order to determine the age of a track in the morning. And it helps, it works. I have managed to get hold of a lot of other different animals from this. So now I am going to carry on now and see what we can find next. Yes, I've got a question from Jane. It's quite a very interesting question. Jane would like to know the difference between a pride and a coalition. Jane, a pride, we are talking about a group of females together with their little ones. Remember, the males, they tend to form their own groups. The group of males together is called a coalition. So it means there you are not going to find the males working with those, the females working together with those males. So females together with their little ones, they consist a pride, whereas males together consist a coalition. So that is how you can distinguish between those two different groups. And these lions, if you can check, they are the only predator which has got the kind of two completely different social organizations, the pride and the coalition. So let's see what we are going to find next year. I'm going to do some trekking now, going towards the northern side of the game reserve. But while doing that, let's now go to Ralph and see what he's got on the other side.
Well, we've still got the very sleepy Hosanna. You can just see a little bit of his ear there, and some of his spots. Every now and then he puts his head up. But, well, maybe we'll get lucky in a little bit. Maybe he'll go for a drink. Maybe he'll even go back to his prize dacre in the Jackalberry. There he is. And it's so nice to have him back. It's very, very cool. I'm very happy. And now we can spend some time with him. And really close to the lodge and our staff quarters. That is very nice. Now, Eleanor, the tree that Hosanna has taken his kill to is probably, I would say that's less than 100 meters. I would say it's about between 70 and 80 meters. Senzo, if you can pan across slowly, just towards that Jackalberry. There it is, coming up over there in the middle of your screen. So it's not very far at all. So it would have been quite easy for him to drag it on over there. I'm sure the size of a dacre is not too bad for him. There, I think I can't see it from here. Maybe we can get it with the zoom. I'm not exactly sure where in the tree it has been hoisted. Lou's saying it's probably behind this dead branch. Well, there's a squirrel on the dead branch. What's he up to? Is that one or two squirrels? Looks like they're doing a little bit of grooming. Yeah. Is that a bit of a couple, maybe? I wonder what they're going to get up to. Now, just a reminder that... oh, here comes another one. Oh, there's three of them. There's a little family. Those look like little babies, maybe. What do you think? Senzo? I think it's a little family. I would say so too. They're probably all just doing a bit of allo grooming now, early in the morning. You see the one grooming the other one, and then he's getting his head groomed now. Oh, here comes another one. Yes, like, how many are we going to have? Senzo saying mother and father and two kids. Perfect size family, that. Now, just a reminder I wanted to say about, I'm not chauvinistic or sexist, and, well, Lou says they're getting the kids ready for school. It looks about that time of the morning, And when I said the cackling woman with the red-billed woodhoopers, or the green woodhoopers now, it is an African name, Hlega bafazi, which the locals call those birds, and Senzo will concur that that's what it means, and that's what they call it. So it's not my name given to those birds when they make that, but you do have to say that they do resemble something like that, but it wasn't me that gave them that name. Hlega bafazi, directly translated, means the cackling woman. So they have been given that name by the African locals, and well, I'm just transferring that message. And in front of us here we do have a hornbill that's also foraging along, and there's quite a number of birds here. While we're sitting here with Hosanna, we might as well do a bit of birding. There's a red-billed hornbill. It did have some green pigeons in the tree that the dam cam is in, but they've now just flown off, probably gone to look for some fruit. And this hornbill, they often forage like that, going through dung, looking for all sorts of little insects, and I think mostly at the moment they're probably eating mostly ants. And the odd termite as well, little beetles, maybe some larvae that they unearth. A very sensitive bill, that. It just seems like it's a hard sort of, bill, but it's quite sensitive, and they can actually feel and taste with it as well. See, they're very sensitive. How you can pick up the tiniest little items and throw it into the back of his throat. And he's hard at work foraging there. Oh, jumping and bouncing around. Alright, so this is very, very cool, and we'll wait and see what other birds show themselves while we sit and wait for Hosanna to maybe lift his head up.
Here, the two squabbling parents at Buffelshoek Waterhole. Even Scuba Steve is not here. Maybe he's decided that finally he's going to seek out some friends. Anyway, our hippopotamus friend is not here. We do have the two worst parents in the world, the two Egyptian geese. And perhaps also some blacksmith lapwings. I thought I saw some somewhere. There we go. No signs of thandi or tharamba at this stage. They'll be looking for little mollusks, not thandi and thalamba, I mean those two birds. Small snails, probably many of them too small to be really noticed with the naked eye. I mean, you could see them, obviously, but unless you looked very carefully you wouldn't. And they'll pick up ants and other creatures living in the, well, I hesitate to call it an intertidal zone, but something like that. These guys digging in the mud for vegetation. Elizabeth, there's no real reason for him to come back to his hometown, as it were, other than for, sort of normal dispersing male leopard behavior. It's not unusual. He'll go away from home, do a long sort of wide swing around, come back again, and it's just part of his movement. He won't necessarily move too far away, certainly not initially. And it wouldn't surprise me if Tumba came back also. And because he'll go again. I mean, he's here, he's been here, 3 or 4 days now. He'll disappear again. I suppose it'll also have quite a lot to do with the other male activity in the area. If the hook starts calling and coming in from the west, that's Hukumuri, then I suspect quite strongly Hosana will vacate quickly. But if he doesn't, and Tingana remains, say, in Torchwood, where he is at the moment in the east, then I'm pretty sure that Hosana will hang around for a while. I think Hosana disappeared pretty much at the same time that the, not quite battle, but the conflict between Hukumuri and Tingana was sort of brewing. It was becoming, it's at its hottest point, if you like. If you are a new viewer, of course, those are two male leopards that are, I wouldn't say fighting, but certainly establishing a boundary between each other's territories. And that boundary seems to be pretty much midway down Djuma, north to south. Nothing in the way of a dawn chorus this morning. A little bit of sun on our faces, which is quite nice. Couldn't begin to tell you, Love, Hope, Faith, where Scuba Steve goes when he's not in the water. We have had hippo on foot once or twice around this area, so it's possible that he's just not come home yet after his grazing. It's possible that he slipped himself into another waterhole during the night, found Treehouse Dam or something like that, or one of the other waterholes in Buffelshoek, or even headed down to Chitwa. We're not very good at identifying individual hippos, you see, so it's quite difficult to tell exactly where he'd be. So if he was at Chitwa, we'd never discern him from any of the others that are over there. Yeah, so Starlight, that kind of answers your question there. I don't know of any identifying marks on Scuba. He's got a couple of scars on his back, but, so do all hippos. I'm sure if we had a proper picture of his face and compared it with other hippopotami, you might well be able to tell the difference. But not obviously so. I do enjoy these geese, apart from the fact that they're such appalling parents. I like the fact that they're always here and sort of talking to each other, squabbling, having their little domestic arrangement. No, not normally, sweet history. Egyptian geese are not normally that bad a parents. These two are, though. I've never seen them raise a clutch of youngsters. They made the extraordinary decision to walk their babies from here to the Gari Dam, which is about 3 miles or so. The chicks couldn't fly yet. Barely started to swim. Well, they swim as soon as they come out of the nest. And they decided to walk them all the way to Gari Dam, got there, spent 2 days there, and then tried to walk back here. Unsurprisingly, only the parents arrived. Ridiculous. It's not like there's any competition here. Why they chose to do that is anyone's guess. I can guarantee you that if there was a chick protection unit within Egyptian goose society, these two would be in some serious trouble. So why they have failed where so many others have done so well is not clear. So, Egyptian geese by default are obviously very good parents because they're extremely common birds in a number of different habitats. You'll find these things all over Johannesburg. And you don't survive in Johannesburg without being wily and skilled. And also tasting bad. You definitely wouldn't survive in Johannesburg if you tasted good. Every golf course in the place would be poached. Now, I have not eaten an Egyptian goose before, but I'm told that they are disgusting. Herbert tells me they're disgusting. I do know one person who says you can eat the breast if you mince it. But as we all know, mince basically tastes like whatever you cook it with or in. And so, yeah, I believe that they don't taste great. Next time, ask Sydney when you next see him if he's ever eaten an Egyptian goose before. A lot of the guys from the rural areas will have eaten, you know, Egyptian goose and that sort of thing before, for want of shops and that sort of thing. So let's head across to Sydney now and find out if he's eaten an Egyptian goose and what it tasted like, and if it tasted okay, what he cooked it in.
Yeah, the Egyptian goose, eh? Those are the very difficult birds to catch. I've been catching quite a lot of different species of birds while I was still very young, and the one I have not managed to get, it was the Egyptian geese. That one I haven't eaten before. So now I have got something very much interesting for you. I am right now inside the artifacts territory. So the artifacts are very much nocturnal. To see them during the day is not easy. But now, during the dry season, winter season, when it's very much cold, you can see the artifact during the day. I have seen the artifacts on several occasions during the daytime in winter season. 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock, still active, going up and down. And what I found about them coming out that early for foraging purposes is that the insects during the dry season, winter season, they go very far away from the ground. So now, let's see. I know it's not easy to come across the artifacts droppings. However, this morning I was very lucky enough to come across these droppings. So artifact is that animal which has got a sloping back and a long nose. So they use that nose in order to investigate the pheromones of where these insects have gone past. So you will see them with that long nose, and they dig like this. And they can dig very fast, eh? So now, these artifacts, they've got a tendency of burying their droppings. Let's see. So I'm just going to try and open here so that you can see the evidence, what this artifact is. Let's see. So, if you check here, yeah, this one, the one I've got now, it has got, yeah, if you can check here now on this one, you'll see this is an ant, eh? It's an evidence that the artifact, yes, it's true. They eat the ants and they eat the termites. You can see this ant is not even finally digested. Let me just show you here nicely. Yeah, you can see that the ant is not even finally digested, eh? Because these animals, they catch these insects and then they eat them, and they don't even chew them, so they only digest them in the stomach. So here, today, I was very lucky to come across this is the second time I am seeing the artifact droppings. It's not easy to see them, eh? They always bury them. No, I can't even pick up any smell, eh? It's just a neutral smell. So it means these insects, after being digested by this artifact, so it doesn't give out any smell. Yeah, so now, let's carry on and see what we are going to find next. Maybe we're going to find the artifact. It's still during the dry season now. Yes, I've got a question from Peter about the size of the artifact. The artifact is one of those animals which can weigh up to 65 kilograms. It's not a very big animal, eh? And then when it comes to the territorial activities, I am not too sure if male and females challenge each other for territorial reasons. So it's one of the things, it's one of those things I still have got to investigate and check. As you all know that the artifacts, they are more active during the night. So it's very, very much difficult to encounter those kind of fightings, claiming of the territories. So now, let's see what we're going to find. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got one of the very much interesting trees here. And let me tell you something. It is the first time today for me to see this tree here by the Lowveld. This is called a Transvaal gardenia. So the Transvaal gardenia, there is a very interesting traditional belief on this tree. And this traditional belief, I saw it working. You know, a belief is a belief, and some of the beliefs, there's contradiction between this tribe and that tribe. But to both tribes, you find that they work. So here, this is what is going to happen. So when the young girls are growing, if they are late to grow the breast, this is what they must do. We take them to these trees. And this must have to happen early in the morning. They must have to come for like the whole week, 7 consecutive days. They must be coming here and they must kneel down like this on their knees. And they must have to come and talk to the tree and ask for the breast. And if they don't do that, they must have to do the following. There's 2 ways in order to get the breast from this tree. This tree has got the fruits. It's just that now I can see there is no fruits available. So we come and then we take off the fruits, and then these small girls must have to come and rub this. They must rub the fruits right here on their breast. So you will see in a very short space, they are all going to grow the breast. And that is how we grow breast.
Well, I think there might have been some gremlins attacking Sydney, but never fear. We are sitting with Hosana. He did raise his head up a minute ago, and then you can see his ear just swiveling a little bit. So he's not completely out. He is quite alert still. You see there, a little bit of movement. So not in total slumber, but he is really relaxing. Now we can have a look once again on the thermal camera just to have a look at the differences in temperature. So we now can see, look how much hotter the part of his ear is, and I would imagine that all around his head would be very hot like that, but you can see how it is definitely warmer than the other parts in the direct vicinity. And well, with that thermal you can also make almost his whole body out behind the grass there, and so it is just quite interesting as you pick up that thermal radiation. That is such a wonderful camera to have, especially I'm sure for the searching at night and in the dark, and if you lose one of the cats or the lions or whatever it might be, even wild dogs, although we wouldn't really be following them around at night, but any of these cats, and sometimes because you can be right next to them and they disappear off in the grass, and just with this a quick little search around and you'll very quickly pick them up. But I also like this whole temperature thing, and that's the way that I saw how Tingana's got the wounds on his arm. So there we go. We're going to go back to the normal view, which is not much really. Look at that. You can hardly see him behind the grass there. You see that quite distinguishable notch in his ear as well. But not doing too much. And I think he's probably going to be here for the next day or two with this food that he's got up in the tree. It would just be nice if we can see him going for a drink and going up for an eat. But we just have to be patient. It's been a long time since he's been around, so it's just nice to be in his presence for a change. And that's why I'm not in a hurry to go anywhere, and just in the hope that he might stand up and give us a better view. And this is about the best view I can muster for now. Now, Elizabeth, I'm pretty sure that Tingana will know that this is family. His smell, his probably, the way that he sounds, etc. He has spent a lot of time with Hosana, and I'm sure that if Hosana spotted or smelt Tingana in the area and made his way on over there, I'm pretty sure it would be accepted, or Tingana would allow him into his space, pretty much like he always has. But you never know. Sometimes it can result in him sort of, chasing him off. It always depends. Leopards can, very quickly not accept a cat that or family that they have done previously. So I would say that Tingana would accept him as per his behavior in the past. But there's always that chance that he might not. So I would say yes, but possibly no. So pretty much a nothing answer, really. Sorry about that. But that's the way that leopards are. You can't really predict fully, but I would suggest that he would accept him, as he always has. You can hear now the crested francolins starting to call, and the day is well and truly on its way. And well, at least Hosana didn't get the pregnant duiker, but he would also eat something like a steenbok.
Ah, very clever link, Ralph. Yes, he would eat a steenbok. Guess what we're looking at, everybody? That's right, it's a steenbok. And steenbok, very unusually, has not scarpered. And that's because it thinks we cannot see it. We drove very slowly up here, and the steinbok did not run away. Male steinbok? Oh, he feels a bit like I do right now. That's amazing. Isn't that cool? I've never seen a steenbok yawn before. That's awesome. He's very sweet, isn't he? I must confess, he looks very cuddly, but for those spiky things on his head. I think I would like to cuddle a steenbok. Would you like to cuddle a steenbok, Sebastian?
Yes.
You would, yeah. I mean, look how fluffy he is.
Use it as a pillow.
I love coffee. I'm not sure if this is a serious question or not. That is not, in fact, a kangaroo, no. That is a steenbok. A steenbok is not related to a kangaroo any more than you are, in fact. This is a placental mammal living in Africa. A kangaroo is a is a pouched mammal living in Australasia. A hopper versus a runner. I mean, there really are very few similarities between the steenbok and the very few similarities between the steenbok and the kangaroo. Yes, as I said, pouched mammal. I realised that, of course, that wasn't the word. Placental mammal is what he is. A marsupial mammal is what the kangaroo is. Anybody remember what the one other kind of... No, they are not the same colour, Louise. They are not vaguely similar. It does not try and confuse people. 3 kinds of mammals, as far as I remember it. The placental mammal, the marsupial mammal, and then the very unusual one, which includes the echidnas and the platypuses. They are known as monotremes, I think. They're eggies. Now, I'm trying to get us into a position where we may have a beautiful view of the Drakensberg Mountains, because they're very clear. Well, Jason, they are just different species of dwarf antelope. Duiker's very large family of small antelope. Duk-duks relatively closely related. as are steenbok, but they're all slightly different sizes. The dike is by far the biggest group. Steenbok belongs to a group called the grysboks, which are those kind of small dwarf antelope. They're specialist feeders. They tend to eat largely in more open grassland areas, often in drier areas than you'd find dikers. Diktiks in very dry areas, and I mean some of them are only that big, they're minute. And then dikers in an enormous group of mammals. When I stop and you're looking at the mountains, I'll take out the book and I'll show you how many different kinds of dikers there are. Most of them live in thick bush of some kind, so in forests, in thick woodlands like they do here. So they are separated here ecologically by their habitat pretty much. So the steenbok will live in these kind of more open wooded areas. The dikers will normally live closer down to the rivers where the bush is a little bit thicker, and which is possibly why the diker Spijker got himself eaten by Hosanna. He was not in the thick bush at all. He was out in the open last night. It's a very pretty light here. I love the coffee. You say you like this channel. I'm very pleased. I'm sorry to disappoint you by telling you we won't be seeing any kangaroos here, but we'll see a lot of other very interesting things. Kangaroo being about the only interesting animal found in Australia. That's very unfair. They've got lots of very interesting wildlife actually. Believe it or not, Australia used to have some of the biggest predators, mega predators, that there ever were. And they unfortunately were killed by human beings on our arrival there. Right, there's a nice viewpoint just up ahead here that we'll stop at. Yes, Josh, springbok are very rare in the Kruger, so rare in fact that they don't occur here at all. It's a common misconception that the springbok occurs in the Kruger National Park because of course it's our national animal, so you'd expect to find it in our flagship national park, but you don't. They are drier area gazelles, and they live in the deserts and up on the high-lying areas of South Africa. And they used to occur in their millions across the Karoo, which is the sort of central semi-desert part of South Africa. They used to migrate in their millions until we, naturally human beings, managed to put up fences all over the place to farm sheep, and the springbok naturally then disappeared. So they don't occur here at all, and in places where you'll find impala, you will very seldom find springbok. They tend to sort of replace each other. How's that, Seb? It's a very pretty little sight there of the Drakensberg Mountains. They're looking very clear and crisp this morning. And Seb and I were just saying, well, you think it's cold here. Imagine what it must be like there. Very cold indeed. Brr. Ooh, there's a hyena calling from the south. Ooh. Ooh. Very mournful Monday morning hyena dirge. It's definitely well south of our area, I'm afraid. Oh, also the sound of some construction. Now that's a long, long way away. That's the Cheetah Plains, which is a reserve to the far east and south of us. It just goes to show how far sound travels in the winter. They're rebuilding the lodge there. Alrighty, no animals to see here. Ralph is still with the animal that you all found on the damn cam.
Well, Mr. Hosanna does want to be seen by all and sundry, but he's rather flat at the moment, just enjoying his nice morning snooze. It seems like he was quite busy last night, so it's well deserved. But it's going to be awesome because we pretty much know now, with his food hanging in the tree just less than 100 meters away from us, and he's got water here, he is definitely going to be here for the next couple of days, at least. So that's good news for us. And nice that he's going to be hanging around for at least that time, maybe a bit longer. And we'll just have to enjoy every day that he is around, because, well, he might just disappear once again. Now, starlight, you know, it's quite a good thing sometimes for leopards to do exactly what he's done. Go and stash your meal up in a tree, and then just, you know, hang a little bit away from that, because you can also just then judge who and what is going to be coming to have a look at your food, and then you're a little bit away from it, and so it's actually safer. It's a safer bet to be completely out of the area where the hyenas or lions or anything that would come is not going to, you know, put him in any danger. And here he's next to the water hole. But I think he was also doing a little bit of stalking, so he was almost looking for a bit more food that he could take up into the tree. But they can quite often do exactly what he's done now, and for the reasons mentioned. Once that duiker is stashed up in the tree, it's pretty easy for them to do whatever they want after that. And they can leave it, they can go for a drink. Maybe that's what he did. He came for a drink and then he spotted some impala, tried to give them a bit of a stalk. I'm just trying to piece together the little bits of news or info that we got from the guys on the dam cam. It seems, as I said, he's been rather busy during the night, so it is definitely understandable that he's catching a bit of a snooze. And why wouldn't you? He's probably got a half a full belly, he's got some water, and it's a very nice, comfortable bed of grass that he's laying in there. He looks very comfortable. And now he can also rest easy in the fact that he's got some food waiting for him. And so he doesn't have to do very much, except laze around in the next few days. And go back up the tree and have a nice feed again. Now, Kath, I definitely do think that Hosana remembers his old stomping ground, and that's, you know, part of his dispersal that he's busy with. He's headed out. He's gone on a bit of a wandering, but he's come back, and he'll probably do that again. Maybe stay away even longer next time, but then still return. I would suggest. Maybe he doesn't, but that's what they sort of seem to do. And then maybe we'll see him once or twice thereafter, and then we might never see him again. Maybe he'll even come back and make himself more comfortable here, but I doubt that. I think he's slowly but surely going to be seen less and less. So one of the reasons why I'm, you know, just spending time with him, even though he is flat there, we just hope that he puts his head up and obliges, but we just need to enjoy what we can get now from the time that Hosana spends here, because I do think that that time is going to be getting less and less, and then we might not see him anymore. It's most likely that's what will happen. Oh, we got an ear flick. Now, Jeanette, there is every chance that another animal could come and try and steal his kill, that he's stashed up in the tree. Tingana might pitch up on the scene. Tandi could. It seems like Tingana, the other morning, when I left him in the evening, he headed to where Tandi had I think it was a duiker as well, up in the tree. And he made his way on over there and stole it from her. So it could quite easily happen that he picks up on the smell of this carcass that's hanging in the tree there and come and steal some from Hosana. I'm sure Hosana has probably done or eaten some of his father's meat. So I wouldn't put it past Tingana coming and having a bite on his. And especially at the moment, he's got a little bit of injuries, so it can be quite nice for him. Our joy in Hong Kong, the last sort of signs that we've had of Thandi Tlalamba, I think Steve had them, and that was when he also saw Hosanna. They were sort of directly east of us, and in that Nyala Road North area, that's the area that Tlalamba has always been moving around in, with Thandi stashing her there. So she seems to be pretty much in the same area, but we haven't seen her in the last day, so she could have moved. She could be on over this side, but I would think that she's probably in the vicinity of Tlalamba. Tingana, we don't know where he is. Haven't seen him for a couple of days, since I saw him in the evening with that, he was next to the Mlawati. So also quite reasonably central. And Hukumuri, Shudulu, we haven't seen for quite a while. I haven't seen Shudulu for about 10 days. The last I saw, she was, as per usual, on the western side of the traverse, up near to the gate, and she was just in for one morning. So we spotted her, we stayed with her in the morning, and then she subsequently then walked out onto Simbambili to the west. So she then left. Hukumuri, I haven't seen him since I've been back. I know that he was spotted in the time that I was away, and we do believe that we've seen his tracks, but he's been moving pretty much in the same sort of routes as Shudulu when he's on our part of the reserve anyway. I don't know what he does when he goes out or goes off the property. All right, I might actually go and have a look at this duiker hanging in the tree in a minute, because Louise tells me that you can see all sorts, and especially around the stomachs.
Yeah, this is one of the very, very beautiful area here where I am. I can see there's quite a lot of grasses here. And grasses, every time we don't take them into consideration. So now, the question is, these animals, the grazers, when they're grazing on this grass, the grass, do they die? Do they get irritated? What's happening? Let's see. When the animals are feeding on these grasses, they enjoy animals feeding on them, because that is when the animals are trying for the grass to stimulate their new growth. Now, grasses are one of those very, very clever plants. If you can check, the grasses are unlike the trees, because the grasses, the growth points, they hide them at the bottom where they are out of reach of the grazers. So grazers will eat to a certain point, and then that is where they're going to now bring out the new growth. So grasses, they do try by all means and reserve some of the nutrients. This nutrients is the one that works in order to recover the grass after the animal has eaten. So it means after the animal has eaten the grass needs a little bit of time to recover, so that they can recover nutrients for the storage purposes, for in case if it's eaten too much, so that it can always have an opportunity to recover afterwards. So if the animals are not coming to eat on these grasses, the chances of these grasses to die are very much high. Why? Because of the following. If you can check, the grasses, if they are not eaten, they develop something which is called moribund, whereby you will see all the old stuck material, dead materials from the previous rainy season together. Those old materials, they block the tufts of the grass to grow. In other words, chances of the grass to die are very much high, because they are not going to be able to grow again. So animals, they encourage the growth of these plants. So now we are going to see if we can find something interesting. Grasses, they share, before we go to the other side, grasses, they share the same habitat as trees, and they don't even compete too much. So let's see if we can go and find something here in this area. I'm still trying to track and see if we can find something here. It's just that it's difficult this morning to pick up some fresh tracks. Now let's go back to Ralph and see what's happening on the other side.
Well, everyone, Hosanna did have his head up, and that's why we wanted to show you him on the thermal image, because it was beautiful. He was looking straight towards us. There's one or two vehicles just having a look at his daycare hanging in the tree, and so he's looking on over to them almost as if to say, hey, leave my food alone. But now he seems to have calmed down that they are there, and he's put his head back down just in time for you guys to have a look at him lying flat once more. All right. Oh, and there he's lifting his head up just a little bit. Hello, big boy. Oh, a little bit of a sneeze. It's probably quite dusty there in the grass. There, he puts his head back down. So you just have to really enjoy when he does put his head up, because we're pretty much watching a sleepy cat. It's maybe sometimes when the vehicles come in, you can often see him just lift his head up. So a couple of the game drives coming in now to have a look, and everyone, well, not just the viewers excited, the older rangers and guides in the area very happy that Osana is back. Expecting him to be at Chitwa room 10 shortly. Hello, sister. Yeah, because he often goes and hangs out there. Chat to the rangers there, and they say that's where he likes to be. He's a very habituated cat, this, almost sometimes scarily so, because he's just so calm around people, and you might just walk out of your room and there he is standing in front of you. He's not doing any standing at the moment. And Louise saying he just wants company. He's a lonely old chap. Well, seems like it, eh? Because he also seeks out Tingana, almost like he's quite a sociable leopard. I don't know if those guys... I just can't see the cat is here. Just, yeah. I think they haven't been able to see him. And it's quite easy to do that. Very difficult to see him in the long grass. Oh, there's his head again. Up, maybe a little yawn. He might have a little clean. Are you going to have a bit of a groom? Let's have a look. He's a really, really good-looking cat, isn't he? His head isn't quite as big as Hukamuri's. Sorry, Lou, I'm just carrying on with him. But let's go to James. It seems like he's found a bird.
A bird, a bird, a bird indeed. This is a bird. Well done, everybody. A bird. Good. More specifically than the class Aves. This is a woodpecking kind of a bird. And what is most clearly seen in this picture, if my brain will just get the words fast enough, is the zygodactyl claws or foot structure of the bird. 2 front and 2 back. That's what they have. 2 toes front, 2 toes back. And also the way that the... my brain really is frozen. That the tail is bracing the bird so that he can peck. effectively at the branches. It is the ubiquitous cardinal woodpecker, this fellow. But you see how the tail's used as a brace, and we don't often see that clearly. So the zigzag-dactyl claws allow very effective purchase when on the side of a branch like this, as opposed to perching, and that tail is a very effective brace when they are trying to peck away at the wood. This one is just trying to get a little bit of sun on him, I think. I had a wonderful sighting yesterday out of my bedroom window of a golden-tailed woodpecker, making much harder taps than this cardinal will make. Well, Fern, I'm most pleased that you find this bird pleasurable to look at, and that it is your favourite bird. I think they're rather splendid myself. Just sort of sheltering a little bit from the wind there. You can see the claw structure again. 2 in the front, 2 in the back. Which is great. Very nice woodpecker sighting. We've had some very nice ones. This is by far the most common woodpecker that we see. And I don't think that I hear the bearded woodpecker, the much bigger one, going da 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 da, nearly as often as I used to in the mornings. Maybe there just aren't so many around at the moment. Golden tail, definitely. I've never seen a Bennett's woodpecker here. That's the other one that we get. Now, once you've done looking there, let me show you all the duikers that we get here. I did promise to show you all the duikers, and I didn't show you any of the duikers because I was driving at the time, and then I forgot, and my brain is frozen and small. Doesn't work properly. 1 second. 1 moment, please. Right, we were talking about all the dwarf antelopes. I can't even change the pages. Alright, so there, the dwarf antelope are known as the Neotragoni, and they include, they're actually just called, they include the Sunni. The Sunni is the only proper dwarf antelope we get in South Africa, and they are largely in forest areas. But now we start with the duikers. The duikers. There's the first one, the bush duiker. That's the one that we get here. Grey duiker, common duiker, bush duiker, it's the same thing. Alrighty, and you can see it is fairly widely distributed throughout Africa. There we are. All over the place, and it does vary in colour quite a lot between those different areas and in size. Alrighty, now look at all of these chaps. Those are all duikers. There's one there that's particularly attractive, the zebra duiker, found only in West Africa. Isn't he lovely? Okay, let's carry on from him. But there are pages of these things. There's the white-bellied, red-flanked, red-faced. None of these occur in South Africa. Another page of them. This is a Natal red duiker. We get that here. Another page of them. So there really are a lot of them. Another page. And then we get onto the Grijsboks, which include the Steenbok. There. So they're a different family of small antelopes. And you do get the Steenbok up in the Mara as well, although you won't find it on a mammal list. The first time we realized that we had Steenbok there was when Brent was watching a cheetah kill, and they killed an animal that looked like a Steenbok, and he said, it's a Steenbok. We all said, Brent, you don't get Steenbok here. And he said, well, what do you call that? And we couldn't argue with him. And there's the dik-diks there, so separate family. There are quite a lot of dik-diks. Okay, there we are. A lot of species. The woodpecker is gone, therefore we too are going to be gone from this position. We continue to see if we can't find some sign of Tundi or Tlalamba. Anna Marie, let me take my glove off and tell you. I don't know if any woodpecker species are monogamous, but I will check on my little application here, which is very good at telling those sorts of things. Wood. No. Not. Let's try again. Wood. Search. Why won't it find woodpecker? Cancel. Wood. No, not wood dove. Oh, God grief, I'm sorry. Woodpecker, here we go. I think the Bennett's is monogamous. Let's look at that. Breeding. Monogamous. The Bennett's woodpecker is monogamous. The golden-tailed, monogamous. They're all monogamous. Let's try once more. I've managed to lose them all again. Stand by. Don't panic. Everybody relax. It's probably more entertaining watching old Hosanna sleep than me doing this, but don't worry. I'll get there eventually. Bearded woodpecker, monogamous. Cardinal woodpecker, monogamous. They're all monogamous. Thank you, Anna Marie. I didn't know that, but now we know. They're monogamous. They're not polygamous. They do not have multiple partners. Well, not that anyone knows of, anyway. Alrighty, let's go back to the only person with an actual animal.
Well, we've also got, and so we're still sitting here with Hosanna. He's very sleepy at the moment, but we're watching birds while we're doing that. There's a crested barbet. I always found them very pretty birds. Very multicolored. And he's looking for something in the wood there. I don't know what he spotted. There were some starlings there a minute ago, the Birchall starling. The great go-away bird also arrived. Really looking around there as if there's something going on. You can hear the great go-away birds making a noise now. They're all wah. They haven't. I don't think they've spotted the Hosanna, so I don't think that's what it's about. There's a couple of them. They look a bit more clowny than the crested barbet. He looks more like punky. We've got clowns and punks. Oh, there's the Birchall starling, not the crested barbet, giving us his call as well. Oh, there comes the barbet. I love it when you have bird parties or different birds all coming together and they spot something. And there's that great go-away bird up the top, hopping around. Quite an elaborate crest. Oh, a little bit of an argument going on there. The crested barbet seemed to have won that little scuffle. Chasing crested barbet. Oh, he's not happy with that starling. Well, they're all in a row. Now, Carol, if these birds do spot this leopard, yeah, they can still alarm even at sleeping leopards, sleeping cats in general. They will definitely also shout the odds about them. As well, monkeys and even squirrels. So they even spot sleeping lions. Yeah, they'll still give them a mouthful, sometimes waking them up. There's crested barbet, really looking for something. I wonder if he's maybe looking for some nesting site. They very much like the woodpeckers, and they make their holes in trees. Those are self-made holes, as opposed to a lot of the other birds that use cavities that already exist. And then they might just sort of do a little bit of extra excavating in the hole that already exists, but they don't make the hole themselves. Whereas the crested barbets, well, barbets and woodpeckers will make their own perfect little round hole with a chamber on the inside. You can often hear them knocking away as they're doing their work, building their nest. Obviously quite well adapted. But the crested barbets are not the same kind of feeder as a woodpecker. They've got more granivore seeds. Sarah, yes, we do get quite a number of different sparrows. Let me just pull out my book and I'll show you all of them that we have here. These sparrows. Yes, 426. And that one earlier that we saw was a yellow-fronted canary, which I think James Richard identified. And yes, I think I agree with him 100%. So, we've got a number of different sparrows. Cape sparrow, yes, we should get Cape sparrows here. It's a little bit on the edge of their distribution. Great sparrow, not maybe up in the northern part of the Kruger. White-browed sparrow weaver, that we get in Namibia, and they are frequent quite a lot. And so those are the sparrows. So I think actually here we'll probably only get the Cape sparrow. But otherwise, you know, the sparrow-like birds, the red-billed quail and the red-billed buffalo weaver. We also do get the southern grey-headed sparrow. That's that one there. Let me just see if there's any others. No. Okay, so it's the house sparrow, the southern grey-headed sparrow, and the Cape sparrow, great sparrow, and white-browed sparrow weaver. Quite a few of those different sparrows. Anyway, that's very interesting. I haven't seen any sparrows around lately. You quite often find them around the human habitations, around the lodges. They like those dark-capped bulbuls. You often find them near to the fruit station for breakfast. That's where we often get them. They're quite... they get habituated very, very easily around human habitations. And I remember in the Namib, at Sossusvlei, which is a very famous area in the dunes, whenever there's a vehicle that comes with a tap, you know, because like we used to have all our camping gear with us and so on, and I used to make breakfast out in the dunes, and as soon as I pulled or opened the tap and closed it again, and it would be dripping just a little bit into the sand, and there used to be sometimes it seemed like hundreds of sparrows that would arrive and start flying underneath my vehicle, but just up towards where the tap was, where the little droplets were forming as they were dripping, and they would fly and drink that. And it was just incredible how they arrived out of nowhere and found my little dripping tap. Every single time I would arrive there and I would make my water, they would just start flying there. We're looking at these boidies here, hoping that Hosanna is going to get up soon. But, well, all I can say is, how could we complain?
Yeah, I have got a very, very nice plant here. Look at the leaves. This is a magic guare. Where does this name magic come from? You know, these magic guares are one of those pieces that are very much amazing. If you come and take a branch, you see this branch is like a Y shape. If I cut this branch somewhere here and I take off the leaves, and I hold the two branches like this up in the air. This can be able to tell me if there is water under the ground or not. So if you go in the areas where I come from and other areas in this country, in South Africa, you will see the people who are digging the boreholes, they've got quite a lot of sticks from this plant in their vehicles, whereby before they start digging, they're going to have to go around and try to investigate where the water is. They don't go and dig and check from digging. They get guided by the results from this tree. So the guari bushes, they can be very much medicinal. You know, where I come from, when I was still very young, I used to go early in the morning with my grandmother. If there is one of us having problems with the stomach-related problems, we'll go and look for this tree. And we are going to dig. I'll be the one digging. And I will dig here. And when I get to the roots, I will take the roots. And then we take these roots, we come back and we dry them. We put them by the sun. And late afternoon, same day, we are going to grind those roots and make powder. And tomorrow, early in the morning, these medicines, they apply them mostly early in the mornings. Then we are going to cook soft pap, and we will mix that powder with the soft pap. And you will see, after eating that soft pap, it's going to clean the stomach, and you're not going to have the stomach problems anymore. The roots, they taste like chilies. It's a very chili root. You must have to be very careful. So if you want to taste it, it's very much chili, it's hot. So now we are going to carry on and see if we can find something interesting again. Let's see. So let's now go to James. He's got some interesting stories on Nyala on his side.
I'm not sure that I have any interesting stories about nyalas, but I do enjoy nyalas. They are my favorite antelope. And this is a magnificent bull and his ladies and a few other bulls. They are not monogamous, like the woodpeckers. And he's picking up little forbs to eat, unidentified herbaceous plants. One interesting one coming across the road, Seb, once this guy stopped looking at us. He's small. The chap about to cross the road is little. He's just coming across the road now. So obviously just come into his adult adult pelage. And he's a little one. But what's interesting is that he's in full adult coloration, but he's much smaller than the other one. And here comes another one, much younger, not quite in adult coloration, with smaller horns. I think that the one that crossed the road is unusually small, actually. There he is. Maybe he's not. Maybe it was just the angle he was sitting at. He's probably about the same size as the other chap we saw. The Nyala bull's supposed to be about 100 kilograms or so 220 pounds. Very cool. Alrighty, let's move on from here. A bit of a traffic jam we're creating. The person in front doesn't wish to turn their engine off. Oh well. Let's continue.
Well, Hosana definitely not getting involved in any kind of traffic jam whatsoever. And most people are also just coming and having a look and getting bored after a minute or two, and then they leave. But we're not getting bored. We're really enjoying watching his ear twitch in the wind. And as I said, well, we've also been just checking up on all the birds in the area too. See how many we can spot. we've seen the African... Oh, there's actually one there, Senzo. There's an African green pigeon. There's a couple of them there. You see them on the right, up near the top. There's quite a few there. There we are. African green pigeon. And there's that yellow-fronted canary off to the right, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Yep, looks like it. So these African green pigeons, we like to call them the Tarzan bird, because they do the like a ah. There we go, Senzo. There's your African Tarzan versions from us. And those two also looking rather cold. I think the little canary doesn't look as cold as the green pigeons. And they get rather cold, I think, because they are traditionally quite tropical birds. And they eat fruit. And so they like warm weather. They're not too happy when it's cold. And you see how they're all fluffed out, not doing much foraging or anything at the moment, just staying warm. You can see a very grey sky in the background too. This cold front is well and truly with us now. As you can see, I'm sure all the guides have got lots of layers on. I'm not taking them off this morning, even though the sun is up. It's not warming up at all. Yeah, there we are. A couple of Nyala coming down. Maybe they're going to come for a drink. They wouldn't even know that Hosana is lying just behind the waterhole. And they could quite easily drink and walk around this waterhole and not even know that he's here. It'll be quite interesting to see what happens. Pretty sure they're coming down for a drink, but they might just be making their way through. They're going to do a bit of feeding. There's all sorts of little spots here. These Nyala do often walk around the lodge, and that is the lodge there in the background, so you might have seen someone going through. He's probably doing some of the work around camp. So there's the waterhole, and here's Hosana just off of it in the grass. Would you know he's even there? Not at all. There he is. Well hidden, hey? Extremely well hidden. You could walk on top of him if you were walking through the bush now. I think only him jumping up or growling or barking at you would make you realize he's there. I've nearly done that a few times with cheetah and civet and what else? Warthogs. I've nearly walked on top of a warthog and a civet and a cheetah. The cheetah just smacked the ground next to my foot. The civet bolted, and we both, I think, got a bigger fright as the other one. And the same with the warthog, also lying in the grass. Oh, and another one, the crocodile. I've nearly walked on top of a crocodile. That was in Shikawi in Botswana. It's a fishing camp on the Kavanga River. And we spotted some reeds that we wanted to go and fish on the other side of, because the current coming down past them looked like perfect water for tiger fish. So we went around these reeds and we had to bash through them. I was still young with my fishing friend, and as we came through into this clearing, there was this crocodile that we both nearly stepped right on top of, and it was sunning itself with its mouth open, thermoregulating, and as we nearly stepped on it, this 3.5–4 meter crocodile just burst into the river and got as much of a fright as we did. And so we were quite pleased that he just went for cover and left us alone, because he was big enough to eat both of us. Well, there you go, the Nyala in the background. I think they want to come for a drink, but they are a little bit nervous, with good reason, whether they're watching us or, because whenever you come near to a water hole, it can make you quite vulnerable. So a lot of animals are rather nervous around the waterhole, especially when you're putting your head down at the water. It does leave yourself exposed. Your head's not up anymore. You're not listening out as well as you could or seeing the area. And well, predators would often take the chance when the animals' heads are down like that to make the charge. I've seen many kills next to waterholes, both from lions and leopard. But, well, Hassan is not going to be killing anything right now. I think he's done enough killing for one day, and his food now is just going to be sitting and waiting.
Well, his food is going to remain fresh in the current temperatures, so I don't think he needs to worry about that. Right, we're not too far from home now. Oh, it is very chilly. Let's see if we can find one last piece of interesting biology before we finish. There it is, Sebastian. Can you believe it? The magpie shrike with its long tail sitting, looking down at the... No, it's still there, looking for an insect that might be hopping about in the golden grasses of the winter. Good morning, magpie shrike. Oh, down it goes. What's it caught, Sebastian? There it flies. What could it be? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And like I say, it would be good if somebody could provide me with some sort of indication as to why on earth they think the magpie shrike has that long tail, because it doesn't really make any sense to me. Alrighty, let's continue. Ooh, yeah. No, there we go. Hello, Starling. Stuart, Starling. Also looking for insecta. Should they be around? Seeds. Or, if it was to fly into the Kruger National Park, crumbs tossed from picnic tables. Won't find crumbs from our picnic table, will it? No. No, you see, I don't think they do have tails to show fitness and prize. That would make sense if only the male had long tails. It's a little bit like the lilac-breasted roller. Why are both male and female that colour? It makes sense when you look at it from the point of view of breeding, but when male and female look exactly the same, why have that hindrance behind? Why would male and female both have it? Unless they're both involved in the seduction of each other, and that the long tail on both is somehow sexually selected for. It's a great conundrum that I've yet to solve, and while I solve it, let us go to the great problem solver himself, the Chief Little.
Well, everyone, now Hasana has just gotten up and walked himself even deeper into the grass there now, so we actually almost can't see him at all. And you see spots there, yes, but he is like a ghost in the grass, isn't he? That is actually awesome to see that, or not see it. And we can just have a quick look on the thermal camera as well, just so that you can then see a little bit better. So there we go. There he is, nicely in the grass. And you know what? On the normal view, you can hardly see a thing besides the grass. So that is actually incredible. That is great. So as he flops back down again, And now we can go to the normal camera, and you see that he is literally invisible. We're starting to get towards the end of the show, everybody, but I'm pretty sure that this cat is definitely going to be here this afternoon again. So you should really watch this afternoon's show, because maybe we'll see him actually on a kill and feeding as well. Now, thanks again, everybody. We will see you again this afternoon. Have a nice day, and goodbye for now.